Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode of New Tales Retold. And you can take a wild guess what we're talking about today. Loki. So, big spoilers if you haven't seen it. Give you a moment. Cool. You had a moment to click off the video if you haven't seen it.
You had me confused for a second. Right? You're like, what are you talking about?
Oh, man. What do you think so far? I like it.
I think it's pretty good. Cool. I just hope this show fixes Loki and, makes him a god of mischief.
Yeah, right? It was pretty cool because it's like we're getting this new start to we're getting out of the Infinity Saga. We're going into the multiverse, and just like in the beginning, Iron Man, after he experimented with his first suit, when he crash landed on the desert, same start. He went through whatever he went through, and then he starts off just in the desert, laying there, everything broken, gets found. It's pretty cool. That moment, but in that beginning moment, I remember you mentioning this while we were watching it, how he's like, the funny moment was he runs up on the rock really quick. He's like, I gotta be above them.
I got to be above them. I have to be below them.
But the fact that he's talking all this and she just cracks him.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't like...
He didn't react, didn't do anything.
Nothing. Yeah. Like,
another thing, too, is they made it seem like he didn't understand the Mongolians, right? That's what they said it was in the subtitles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He didn't understand them. Like,
I didn't catch that.
Isn't he supposed to know like all the languages?
Yeah.
Thor also knows pretty much all the languages.
That's so true. I guess little what do you call that, plot holes, I guess. And
I don't know, maybe he did understand them and they just didn't show it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because immediately he saw the TVA pulled up and looked at the Tesseract, and he was just like, okay, my attention's done with you guys.
You guys.
Humans, right? Puny humans. But that moment was cool. That the way he just slowed down. She said, "What are you going 1/16 the speed?"
Yeah.
And you're just watching his cheeks flow.
Yeah. One thing I have to say though is remember when they brought up that whole Nexus event thing? It's funny because remember they also mentioned the Nexus in WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, though, time is weird. This happened before WandaVision, because this happened during Endgame.
Yeah, so this is the first. This is a Nexus.
This is probably what started
event.
it. And Wanda's whole thing probably is kind of piggybacking off of the Nexus event.
It's funny that you say that too, because I had written down in my notes why we didn't see the TVA when Wanda caused, a multiversal event. She was warping reality, changing things. I'm pretty sure that's, unless
what happens here explains that. Maybe this is why they
or maybe
there.
It's supposed to happen, like they say. Because
that's the thing. They made a Nexus event isn't supposed to happen. That's something that's bad.
True. Yes, you are right. I'm trying to open my tablet to get my note.
Because remember, they were like, that was the whole big thing that he started a Nexus event.
Yeah.
Going back in time like that.
But then why wouldn't they intervene? Like, why didn't we see the TVA during WandaVision?
Like I said, either something happens to them in this show that prevents them from interfering with Wanda.
Okay.
Or they're just too preoccupied.
Okay, I asked the question again to gather my thoughts. I was like, wait.
It was another thing I thought. Just go. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
No, I just don't remember.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it gets weird, and it's I don't know. They just made it. I don't know. I hope Loki gets strong. I feel like they made him a little bit fast in the beginning. Yeah, it's like he was just fighting the Avengers, and the TVA pulled up and slapped him around and did all that they had to do. But I have to mention this because this was on my thought. I love Owen Wilson's performance. I love him. He's awesome.
He's doing amazing so far.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's doing great.
And in the beginning, when he's talking about, where do I have him? Oh yes, yeah. During his interview, Cause speaking of him,
Mhm.
like kind of needing to be stronger, he mentions how he's a pussycat compared to other variants of himself.
Yeah.
So, which is
Yeah.
like crazy because like you see everything he was doing, he was taking people's eyes out and like
Yeah.
smiling and all this stuff, and he's just like in.
You know what's funny too? They
Mhm.
said Loki going back, taking the Tesseract at that moment wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So technically, doesn't that mean them going back to Howard Stark, seeing Howard to go find more pen particles wasn't supposed to happen?
Hmm.
Is that what they're saying?
Or maybe they were never gonna leave with the Tesseract in the first place.
But why?
Maybe Shield was gonna take it.
Maybe Shield noticed it originally instead, which would force them to go
Mhm.
back in time. That
Yeah.
would make sense
Mhm.
because it's like it's weird.
You know what?
Because if that's the case, why didn't the TVA interfere with Iron Man and Cap?
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird because I feel like they shove it to the side with we let what's supposed to happen happen. So it's
Yeah.
like I feel like that's how they'll easily justify those little moments that we question, like, oh, that
Yeah.
was supposed to happen, so they didn't intervene. It was like, yeah, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
it
make
worked out
sense.
anyways. He just wasn't supposed to grab the Tesseract. Someone else
Right.
was.
Right, and I want to go back because we jumped to his interview. I want to go back to the beginning when they explain when we meet Miss Minutes.
Oh yes, Miss Minutes.
Actually, I want to go back a little more to where he got hit. I noticed something. That chick's stick was purple. The color of the tip of the stick was purple, and everyone else was orange.
Power Stone.
No, but later on, when she goes to Loki escapes and she almost swings at the guy that works there.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, you almost hit me." Her thing is orange. The purple, I think, because she hits him with it, that slows down the time.
Ah.
And then the orange one, I guess, disintegrates you, whatever the fuck it does.
Okay.
Yeah, a little thing I caught when I was
Another
watching.
thing with that same moment when she destroyed the car and they made it, the Infinity Stones were paperweights, which does kind of make sense because they're out of the universes they belong in.
Mhm.
For all we know, maybe those universes are destroyed and they just have the Infinity Stones from them. But another thing I thought they were dumb is before I say that, though, quick question: do the Infinity Stones work in another universe?
Mm-mm.
So let's say you take the so let's say you take an Infinity Stone from like Earth 616 and bring it to 1610.
In the comics, if I remember correctly, they shouldn't work.
They shouldn't work.
Not in their respective universe.
Okay, so the only thing that would make sense is the stones in there are from universes that no longer exist, because maybe they're that strong that they think someone can't come and grab them. Because what if someone grabs their Infinity Stone from
Yeah.
their universe and goes back? Now they have an Infinity Stone. And
Yeah.
you guys just left it in a cart,
That's true.
not defended.
That's true.
where
And
anyone could take.
with that, you could even argue that aren't the stones supposed to be all about balance and natural order?
There's that too.
Removing them from the universes, won't that disrupt the natural
That's
order
why
of things?
I would assume that those universes are
dead.
gone.
Yeah, and it's funny because I wasn't gonna go to that, but you went straight to it, and I'm glad you did because this was stuck
timelines?
on my mind. When he's looking at the stones, he says, "Yeah, people around here use them as paperweights. Sometimes." And it makes me wonder if you have those corrupt agents that do go to the universes where they do work and use them.
They made it. From what I read on the TVA, the people that work for them are born and bred to work for them, and they're made to literally just follow orders and what they do, and that's it. Once they die, they're cloned, and then brought right back to do their job.
That sucks.
Yeah,
I mean, and perfect that you're talking about where they originate, because it was pretty cool to see how the TVA just originated.
That's why the guy said, "What's a fish?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was like, "What's a fish?" That was funny.
Yeah,
what's
that
a
was
fish?
pretty funny. I'll cut you like a fish. Real quick, what's a fish? Because I gotta know the severity of the threat.
Oh, that was really good. But yeah, it was pretty cool. They talk about the timekeepers coming together, the universal war, the multiverse of war, and the timekeepers come together and form the sacred timeline.
So I'm assuming the sacred timeline is the timelines that Kang doesn't rule. I'm only saying that because the TVA, their biggest rival in the comics, was Kang.
Yeah.
They fought against Kang.
But from what it seems, he was one of the founders.
He's one of the founders.
In the MCU.
Unless that's not him, but it looks just like him.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to get to, is who the hell the timekeepers were. But I don't know. I couldn't really tell.
Maybe Kang betrayed them.
Yeah, it could be.
Maybe Kang did start TVA to go keep time, and then just thought, hey, I just want to rule.
Sometimes for other things.
Yeah. Maybe from the beginning, he was just like, I'm going to use them.
Yeah, I'm just going to be an asshole.
To create my empire.
Yeah. Could be. That's serious. And it's and it's funny because speaking of multiversal war, right? For all we know, maybe he's, that was his doing. To make everything forge together into one timeline, easier to conquer everything.
Yeah.
But with that, it's pretty cool because they talk about the past multiversal war, and everything had to be forged into one timeline to kind of save everything, which is pretty similar to what we saw in the comics and what we're seeing in the comic books. Just before we record this, I was browsing through Secret Wars, and it is the Ultimates universe colliding with the regular universe.
Okay.
And in the end, we have Miles over in the normal.
Yeah.
We have this whole collide of people of it becomes in the comics one timeline. 2018 starts Marvel's fresh start, and it's the fresh start of Marvel. It's one timeline now. We're seeing reboots to everybody from the X-Men to Tony Stark, the Maker. Yeah, we see that. We're seeing the Maker much more now. So it's like it's cool. So it's making me wonder, because you mentioned this the other day about the MCU really connecting to the comics.
Yeah.
This is the perfect way. That multiversal war was what happened in the damn comics, and then now it's one timeline. And but because of Loki, shit might start, coming through, and connecting.
But it's weird though how they mention the sacred timeline, yet make it seem like there are other timelines that are different.
Drop my coaster. It's funny that you say that.
Because he said there are other. You're the what he said. You're kind of like the.
He's a variant.
Yeah.
And they're hunting another variant of him.
Yeah.
So maybe these people are. Maybe there is one timeline.
What did he say? He said you're a lot like more of a punk basically than the rest of the other variants.
A pussycat.
Yeah, they call him a pussycat. They call him
a pussycat
compared to the other variants.
And it's like him. The only thing I can think
Unless
of is different points of time of him.
Or maybe when he said, did he say other variants of you, or did he just say other variants?
He just said other variants.
So maybe it's not only him. Maybe other variants refers to other people. Because remember that other guy was a variant.
It's funny, yeah. I feel like someone out there is gonna. Who is he?
What if he's a Loki?
Who?
That guy.
He is. It's funny because I rewatched it, and Owen Wilson flat out tells him that they're hunting him.
No, I know, but what if that guy, remember the guy that didn't grab the ticket?
Was him?
What
was
if that's a Loki?
Him? That would be cool because there's so many.
He walked to the end. I tried to grab a ticket, but the guy wouldn't let me. God of Mischief.
Right? Yeah, he got scared. He saw him disappear. He was like, "Fuck's my ticket out."
Yeah. So it's like, what if he was a Loki?
And it's funny, speaking of that, and knowing that the bad guy is Loki and the good guy.
The gathering Lokis.
It makes me wonder if that Loki that they're hunting is the female version. In the comics, she was so much more evil, and that would be fucking cool. That would be a good twist.
From the trailers, it seems like he's going to eventually fight the TVA.
I mean, he's the god of mischief. He's gonna want to get away. He's not gonna want to do their bidding.
But it makes me wonder if there's a bigger threat than the person they're chasing.
And it's funny. I'm glad you say that.
And I wonder if it is the TVA.
Nice little segue to this. When they were first talking, when he first got arrested, and he sees the whole city of the TVA, and he's like, "This is just tech,
magic."
No
this
magic.
Is magic.
And he's like, "Nope, no magic here." Like he was like he didn't believe it. In that moment, when he goes, "This is a nightmare. Like, this is another department. That's the department I hope you burn down." We have multiverse of madness
Yeah.
happening. For all
The
you know,
nightmare
that
was
is.
one of the like devils, like rulers of
Hmm.
hell that had their own pocket dimension.
And speaking of devils, even though the
It,
director confirmed that
it
Mephisto apparently isn't going to be in the show at
nah, it was a
all,
reference to Loki. He's calling Loki the devil.
yeah. But when she pointed at the picture, he looks at her and what does he say? He says, "Don't worry, that devil's afraid of us." So it's like, I guess they are, Mephisto does, because the glass literally looks like the devil with the horns
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. So and he obviously knows it's not that devil that they're hunting. So I guess kind of confirming in the universe that devil exists somewhere. Mephisto exists somewhere, and if this is all just like hints that weren't even intended, it would just be so
That's what I'm
disappointing.
saying. Cause that was in the details.
That was in the
Same thing.
details, and then literally pointing at that devil. That devil's afraid of us,
Or they're just lying to us.
right? Their teeth, and just like we're leading up to this all along. He's the Doctor Strange villain.
But didn't they confirm it to
Nah,
be Nightmare?
I believe so.
I think they confirmed
so.
it to be
I
Nightmare.
have so many things have been changing that
Which,
I kind of
again, a hint at Nightmare.
yeah.
Which another hint they did is when Miss Minutes was talking, she mentions the multiverse of course, and she talks about how the multiverse can go into madness because of a Nexus event.
exactly.
Literally, the next movie after
Mhm.
this, the Multiverse
Literally.
of Madness.
I mean, and Kevin Feige did confirm that apparently this show will have the biggest impact on the MCU.
Yeah.
So
Again,
far
there you
of all
go.
the shows.
He caused the Multiverse of Madness, which makes me wonder. They made it seem like he caused all of this, grabbing the Tesseract.
Okay, I was trying to make sense of it, and I did. Okay, so in Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
they grab all the stones right from different points in
Yeah.
time. He disappears with the Tesseract. Later on, Cap goes back and returns all the stones. The only thing that didn't get returned was the Tesseract that Loki took.
Yeah.
So that's why they're blaming him, because Steve and the Avengers are going to fix everything they did. He's going to go back in time, bring the stones back
Mhm.
before they took them. Everything's going to get fixed. The only anomaly is Loki leaving with the Tesseract.
That would make sense. So what would be is this Loki that they're chasing is from the future.
And it's funny. I'm glad that you say that, because when he was on trial, he was like, "This is not how my story ends." And she says, "It's not your story. It never was." And I was sitting. I that line I've been sitting on. Like, I'm like, what does she mean by that?
It's funny. I think that's a kind of a little knock to all the movies he's been in. It was never his story. It was never about him.
And it's yeah. And then later on, when he's talking to Owen Wilson tells him, or Mobius, I'm calling him by his name. When he's talking to Mobius, Mobius tells him, "You're meant to be evil so that others can be great." And then after that, it shows the
That's what she said it.
Avengers.
Exactly. My story doesn't end here. It was never about you. He was never meant. The story was never meant to be about him.
Mm-hmm.
But now it is.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Now it is. Now it is. Thankfully, it's
That's
cool.
How would you feel if they made the female Loki his daughter? In the future, he has a daughter, and that's who's coming. back
That would
to
be
do all this.
crazy. That would be cool. That would be a really cool thing to do. I would like that.
Yeah.
And they show it's and I have to mention this because we're talking about his inconsistency
Mhm.
of strength. He knew that the Avengers came from the future. And when he's talking about when he's standing trial, he blames the Avengers, and she's like, "That's quite an accusation." And he tells her, "Well, no doubt they came from the from the future to stop me from whatever God ship I ruled. I
Yeah.
can smell two Tony Starks."
Yeah, he's a god.
So it's
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
What the
What's
fuck?
like they're kind of like, you know what's funny, which makes me kind of gives me hope that they're going to fix it and really show his godhood, because they keep throwing that at him. He's calling himself a god, and they're like, "But really, are you?"
And they're like, "Yeah, but you're so small."
Yeah, but like, look what you do. Look what have you done? You failed. You're not a god of mischief. What mischief have you done?
Mm-hmm.
They're throwing it at his face. Like, are you really a god?
They're really gonna test his.
Which is funny because it goes back when he's watching him Remember, he's showing him his future,
Oh
and
man,
it stops at the moment, and it shows Loki looking at Loki, saying, "You'll never be a god."
that is so true. Another big moment to that is in this current, right, in the first Avengers, he is working with Thanos.
Yeah,
That's how he got the Tesseract. That's how he got that stone.
yeah.
So seeing that he was working for Thanos and then seeing
See
Thanos killing him, he was like, he's probably like, holy crap, I never achieved what I wanted to achieve.
This story was never about me.
That shit blows. That shit blows.
Yeah. Watching himself die, watching himself cause his mother's death,
Right?
him thinking he was gonna kill Thor and then sending them down the wrong hallway and turned out to be his mom.
He got his mom killed. He's sitting there like,
And
oh,
he got, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. He got defensive, literally.
Yeah.
Got defensive. Was like, no, I didn't.
And
do
then
that.
right
would never.
afterward, he's like, where is she? Where is she?
Mhm.
It's like, bro. It makes you wonder now what's gonna happen in the in that timeline. She lives.
They reset it.
But then, see, that's where it gets confusing. Then where's Loki?
The thing is, like, they reset it, but isn't that? It's weird. The timelines are weird because isn't that the timeline, the main timeline, technically?
Yeah.
They went back and fixed it, quote unquote. No, they
Mhm.
didn't because they couldn't bring back the Tesseract. The sacred timeline. That would make sense. Their timeline, the MCU timeline we're seeing, is the sacred timeline that they have to protect at all costs.
Mhm.
All the other timelines are other timelines that they're probably trying to reset and
Mhm.
fix to bring it back to what it was. So Loki grabbing the Tesseract messed with the sacred timeline, the original MCU timeline.
Because they were meant to go back in time.
Yeah,
and
they
do
were
all
meant to
that.
go back in time, grab all that.
And remember, you can't change the past, so
Yeah.
they can't bring him back to fix everything because it's not gonna change
Yeah.
anything. He already fucked up.
So what they resetted was the timeline he created. They didn't
Mhm.
reset that timeline. Oh, sorry guys. But yeah, they didn't reset their main timeline. They probably just reset that branch he created.
Right now, all they hear is timeline.
Yeah, timeline. Yeah, we're gonna hear that a lot
Yeah,
throughout
right.
this entire show. And it's just like I feel like they're just throwing time at us to confuse us.
Right. So
I'm
it's
just
like,
like-
it makes it.
Like,
it
where's
makes
this plot
no
hole?
sense to
Yeah,
it
but
make
guys,
sense.
but timeline.
But timeline.
Like, what explains this plot hole? Timeline.
Timeline explains it. Timeline. My goodness. Oh man.
We're like, but guys, this doesn't make sense. Time is confusing, guys.
Yeah,
Just ignore
timeline.
it. Just ignore it. The timeline.
What I want to know is what does it mean? What does it mean when a timeline is redlining? Is it gonna crash with another one, and so they have to reset it so it doesn't?
Either that or that timeline is gonna cause something crazy, or
Nexus
crash
event.
into the sacred timeline, into the main one.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we were saying. It's like they hint that multiple timelines
Yeah,
exist. So at the
but
same
then-
time, they act like
'cause
it's kind of one.
I want to know what happens that causes that moment in the trailer.
Which one?
Remember, in the moment in the trailer, it showed the timeline. All of a sudden, mad branches
Yeah.
just started coming out.
Well, no, they didn't. They show that in her
They
explanation.
only showed one. Only showed one timeline come out and branch off. And in the trailer, it showed a bunch of branches, and then it showed two of them going to collide.
Imagine that's how it ends, and it's like, wait for Doctor Strange.
We see Doctor Strange show up in the end. But what it's like, it's kind of disappointing because it seems like they don't want Doctor Strange to take the light away from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll allow anyone to take the shine from him.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
only
because
his
he's
one
the
movie.
Sorcerer Supreme.
But it's like still now we have Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and they're adding all these people that have the chance to just take that light away from him.
You think Loki? What would? I mean,
Not Loki. We have Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
America Chavez.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and who else? There's one more big person that they're adding in it. Spider-Man, I think it was.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
So many people to take that spotlight from him.
Yet
they didn't allow him to take the spotlight from anyone.
I think it's gonna be very similar. I think it's gonna be very similar to Civil War. It's a Captain America movie. It's like they'll probably
But
they're just
who were the spotlights in that movie? Wasn't Captain America.
no, but it was from Captain America's perspective.
I don't like It's a Captain America movie. It should be his spotlight.
That's all. That's probably what
Like, it's a
it'll be.
Doctor Strange movie. Doctor Strange should be at the spotlight. It's his movie. You're gonna make him the MC, but give everybody else the spotlight.
You never know.
I'm hoping they don't, because like, it's what they've done whenever they do these movies, these team up movies, but are supposed to be.
They'll probably handicap Wanda pretty quickly. Because we haven't in the comics, she was never really in control.
Unless
it's like
everyone's theory is right, and she's the villain, and Nightmare's taking advantage of her.
Yeah.
During this movie.
And then she just gets knocked out.
Yeah.
Quarter of the way through,
Strange,
and then and then he just goes for a Nightmare afterward. Hope so.
Wonder what Spider-Man has to do with it.
Yeah, I know, right?
They confirmed he was in it, or was it just rumored?
I'm pretty sure it was just rumored.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just rumored. Man, Loki. I'm so curious. So curious to see. It was pretty cool that he was DB Cooper. He jumps out. This is his brother. He lost a bet. He lost a bet to Thor, so he had to do that. They're dumbasses.
He's like, wow, you were DB Cooper. That's crazy. It's awesome.
He's like, that's pretty cool. He seems like the one Mobius seems like he seems like a TVA agent who wants to get out. Like, he's the one that's not, like, he's like the anomaly of all the agents. He's the odd one, the one that's...
I think he is like their special forces.
Yeah,
they're sending him after the Loki.
He mentioned how they only send him after the most dangerous variants.
So he's like the top
top
dog. The Minuteman. He's not even a Minuteman. He's Mobius.
Yeah, he's Agent Mobius.
Yeah, so it's like he's up there.
Yeah.
And he's right now after the biggest bad, which is the Loki. Which is why when he went up to her, they made it seem like she couldn't say no. She was just like, yo, this is a bad idea. I was like, yeah, well, I'm gonna do it anyways. But that Minuteman, the main one, the chick, the main one, she bumps heads with him. It kind of seems like they're on the same level of authority.
Yeah, because I mean, granted, the one reason why I could see her out maneuvering Loki
security.
It's just that she's the boss.
Yeah.
She's the main TVA agent.
The main
Minuteman, and she's probably well trained. She's probably, you know what I mean? That's the only thing I can think of. And think about it. They're the TVA. They're supposed to be, controlling the timelines. I would hope they're pretty strong.
Which is great, because if she's the top dog of the Minuteman, of the security team, basically, if she's the top dog, Loki outwitted her. God of mischief.
Yeah, he did.
Already doing him justice if that's the case.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
It's like, I hope that's the case, because if that's the case, there we go. We just saw some crazy shit with Loki. He just outwitted the top dog of the Minutemen.
I just thought of when you were saying the timelines colliding. We see that whoever the Loki variant that's doing all this stuff for the TVA is stealing the things to reset.
Yes, they are.
So, who knows what the hell that Loki variant's gonna start doing with them?
Make her timeline or his timeline the only timeline.
Right? Make that one the sacred timeline, the one where they rule.
The Loki's rule.
This is gonna be good. Can't wait.
Which Kang is gonna be the villain of whose?
Of Ant-Man Quantumania.
He's the villain of Ant-Man Quantumania. It's so weird, because you would think Kang would interfere in this.
Yeah, you would think. He even says that he's like, let me speak to these timekeepers.
They said they're very busy.
Dictating time.
That's what I'm saying. What if the TVA is bad?
Well, they wouldn't know it.
Yeah, they wouldn't. What if the
TVA
is bad and they don't know it? The timekeepers are bad, and the TVA doesn't realize that they're bad, and right now Kang is just trying to take over.
It would be cool, because then you can get in a sense you can get rid of the TVA, because the reason why they didn't use them in the comics often is because just everything when it comes to time is just confusing. Yeah. It's a good way to kind of make them their own people, without just getting them out the way.
Or
making
or
them
just
the
make
space
them
cops or some shit, since the Nova Corps is gone.
Or after this, the TVA's goal is not to just protect the timeline from variants, but to protect the timeline from Kang.
Yeah, that would be their sole
Like
mission.
they just said, "Fuck that. We'll
Them
have them
against the
deal with their own
timekeepers.
timeline bullshit. We got to deal with him."
Mm-hmm.
And
That
that's
would
what
be
they
cool.
become. They just become just the anti-Kangs.
All right, the anti-King squad.
Which what they were
Yeah.
in the comic books. They
Yeah.
legit they were the rivals of Kang.
Yeah.
They own. I forgot. I think Kang's territory was 2 times bigger than TVA's, or vice versa. One of the two.
I don't. Yeah,
I think it was vice
don't
versa.
know.
I think the TVA's their territory they controlled like 2/3 of the timelines, while Kang controlled that 1/3.
Interesting. I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that's all we got, right? That's all I could think of. I mean, cause I don't wanna go.
They were
into-
other prisoners.
Yeah, I saw a scroll. He was in an Adidas
he?
tracksuit. Yeah.
Yo, and someone pointed out, I saw that in one of the parts it looks like Peggy Carter's in the background.
No way. I have to look back at that.
I don't know what moment, but it showed it. It looked like Peggy Carter,
Imagine helping the liaison for the TVA and shit,
where she's a prisoner.
right? Because Steve stood
Oh,
in that timeline.
Do you know who also became prisoner of the TVA in the comic books at one point?
She-Hulk.
Yep.
And we have her show coming up.
And we have her show coming up. It's gonna be very interesting if they're gonna do anything with that.
It'd be cool. She has Daredevil be her lawyer since she doesn't want to represent herself.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be pretty awesome. But yeah,
Interesting.
it is interesting. But let us know what you guys think. Loki's just started. We could speculate forever because it's the beginning. So it's just everything's open ended. Yeah, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Subscribe, like if you like the video, and we'll see you all in the next one.